Hi, and welcome to another presentation from your business tutor, learning your way, anytime, anywhere. When we looked at management structures, we identified that one of the key considerations management take into account when choosing a structure is who should be making decisions. For example, if it is believed only senior managers should be making decisions, then a centralised management structure would be most appropriate. This is an important point because making sure the right people are making decisions will positively impact on a business. However, as equally important as making sure the correct people are making decisions is ensuring that staff are organised into departments and divisions that make it easy for the business to implement decisions and sell its products and services to customers. This is why the following series of lessons on groupings of staff is so important. So with that, let's turn to initially focus on functional grouping. So what are we going to learn in today's presentation? Well, first of all, we're going to find out what groupings of staff is. After that, we're going to turn and specifically look at functional grouping of staff. And then finally, we're going to look at the advantages and disadvantages of functional grouping of staff. Okay, so let's get started with our first question, which is, what is groupings of staff? Groupings of staff refers to the way in which staff are allocated within an organisation to a particular department or division. It will therefore show how many departments or divisions are inside a business, and in a general way, what type of work is undertaken within each of those departments or divisions. For example, in an organisation with 4 departments, marketing, human resources, finance and operations, it is clear what activities each department would undertake. However, more than that, allocating staff into different departments or divisions is also important, because it is through these groupings that a business provides its products and services. So with groupings of staff defined, let's now turn to our second question. What is functional grouping of staff? Functional grouping is when an organisation creates departments based on the core activities required to run that business. In most organisations, as the diagram shows, the core functional areas are marketing, finance, human resources and operations. Sometimes functional grouping will also include an administration and information technology department, which provides office and computing support to other functional departments. Okay, let's now move on to our next question and ask, what are the advantages of functional grouping? By allocating staff to specific functional areas, it allows employees to build up vast experience. For example, in the finance department, there will be specialists who manage the business's payroll, whereas in the human resources department, there will be specialists who manage the recruitment of staff. This type of expertise is invaluable to a business because it means it will not only run smoothly, but efficiently, because staff know exactly what they are doing. A second advantage linked to the first is that each department has its own specific role within the business. As such, there is no confusion over what department is responsible for what. This means there is no expensive duplication of activities or jobs across the organisation, which helps to keep staffing costs low. Another advantage of functional grouping is that within each department there is usually a straightforward management structure. This has a number of benefits, such as it is clear who is in charge and who is making decisions, which should speed up decision making in the department. Secondly, a straightforward structure also promotes good communication and idea sharing within the department, which supports cooperation. And finally, staff know who to turn to in the department should they need help or support, which will improve productivity. Put this all together and you can see that functional grouping promotes strong unity and strong culture within each department. So let's now turn to our final question and ask, what are the disadvantages of functional grouping? Probably the major issue with functional grouping is its lack of focus on the customer or the products the business sells. Each functional department is more concerned about itself and its status rather than the customers who generate the income for the business. This is a crucial point because if your business is not focused on its customers and what they want, it is likely that they won't shop with you anymore, but competitors instead. A second problem with functional grouping is that it is difficult to identify financially how each department contributes to the overall performance of the organisation. For example, an organisation may have made £1 million profit, but how much of that is due to the marketing department? And how much of that is due to the finance department? This is very difficult to work out, and hence judging departmental performance is challenging. A third issue stems from the strong culture that is created in each functional department. This can be a problem as it can result in cooperation and teamwork being affected across the organisation. This occurs because each functional area sees itself as being independent, which it fiercely defends. This means when departments have to work together, there can be huge issues. Each area wants it done their way and is unwilling to give way, meaning cooperation does not occur and the desired outcome is not achieved. Departmental independence can also bring more problems in that if senior management try to implement change which could negatively affect a functional area, it will encounter huge resistance, which will slow the pace of change down. As can be seen, functional areas and the staff within are loyal to their department rather than the business as a whole. This is a huge issue, as to drive a business forward quickly and effectively, everyone needs to be on board and rowing in the same direction. Clearly, functional grouping can have a massively influential effect on this. Okay, so what did we learn today? Well, first of all, we found out what groupings of staff is. After that, we identified what functional grouping of staff is. And then finally, we went on to look at the advantages and disadvantages of functional grouping. Before moving on, it is important that we show how management structures and groupings of staff are connected and linked. As indicated previously, management structure is about making sure the structure supports effective decision making. In other words, making sure the structure supports those people the organisation wants making decisions. However, without effective implementation of those decisions, a business will achieve nothing. This is where groupings of staff comes into play, as this looks at how staff can be organised into departments and divisions to make it easier for a business to implement decisions and sell its products and services to customers. As can be seen, management structure and groupings of staff need each other to be effective. One without the other just doesn't work. This means management must consider their choice of management structure and their choice of groupings of staff as a linked decision.